Welcome to Heal the New Sexy, where we discuss all things healing, self-love, and relationships for millennial women. My name is Cynthia. I am a licensed clinical social worker. Today, I want to talk about being saved and still having sex. I did some research for this video and I want to share it with you. This is by Pew Research Center. It says a majority of Christians, 57%, say sex between unmarried adults in a committed relationship is sometimes or always acceptable. It goes on to break it down by denomination. Since I mainly speak to Black women, it said 57% of Protestants in historically Black tradition, right, believe that sex between unmarried adults is okay, sometimes or always acceptable. I came up with this video because in my previous video, a young lady mentioned that she was newly saved. She lives with her boyfriend and their son. And she discussed how she went to her boyfriend and told him that she no longer wanted to have sex. And he told her, well, that he didn't agree. And another supporter commented like, that's not your husband. So, and it made me want to discuss this because I believe that sex is one of the topics that we don't talk about enough in church. Even in single groups, I don't feel like we talk about sex. I don't feel like we talk about how to manage sexual urges, the difference between lust and attraction. I don't feel like we talk about that enough. I feel like there's some people who feel like they're being lustful, but they're really attracted. There's people who struggle with lust, but they don't have a place or a space to have an open and honest conversation that can lead to their healing and deliverance. And so I wanted to have this conversation and I wanted to provide some advice to this young woman. I know some people be like, well, she got one or two choices, move out or to get married. Well, I don't believe that marriage is the answer. And I'm going to tell you why. There's research that suggests that if you live with a person before you marry them, you're more susceptible to get divorced. So people who live together prior to marriage have a higher likelihood of being divorced. And another thing I don't believe is I don't believe that marriage is a band-aid for sin. Okay. I believe that you should marry the person that you know that God has called and created you to marry. You've dated this person. The two of you have similar likes. The two of you have a same understanding about marriage. The two of you are deciding to be married. You're not deciding to be married because you sinned, okay? I've seen women who had sex with men, Christian women, they had sex with men, and then they say, oh, I can't do this anymore because they're feeling condemned, and then they get married. But marriage was not created just to cover your sin. It wasn't created to cover your sin at all. It's an institution of God, right? He created it, one, for it to be enjoyable. He created marriage to be enjoyable. He created marriage for companionship. He created marriage so that we can have children. He created marriage, okay? He did not create it just so you could cover sin, right? So we know the woman who gets married, then all of a sudden that she's pregnant. And I'm not judging or condemning anyone, but I don't believe that marriage was marriage was not created to cover sin. What happens when people marry to cover sin, that pleases people only and only. Because it's like once you get married, you sin or you pregnant, once you get married, oh, okay, well, they married now. So no. No. There can still be issues in their marriage. There was issues in their dating. They were sinning, right? They were sinning. And so now they're married now, it's fine. No, it's not. No, it's not. So I wouldn't encourage this young woman to get married. What I would encourage her to do, and any other woman that's watching this that's still having sex, I would encourage you to look at your personal beliefs and why you still are having sex or why sex is important to you in your romantic relationships. Because there is a reason why you keep having sex. One, and then also I want you to look at why you feel it's okay to disobey God and how he created sex. When we do something outside of the will of God and how he created it, we're perverting it. And so you have to be mindful of that. And again, I'm not judging. I want to facilitate this conversation and I want to hear from others, because I believe if we was in church on Sunday and a pastor said, hey y'all, how many of y'all believe sex is okay for people who are unmarried? I don't believe it. If there was 100 people there, I don't believe 57 would be like, well, I do. Many of us have experienced a lot of judgment in church. So I don't believe that there would be people that would be that bold. Okay. So you have to look at your beliefs. Why am I going against the will of God? Why am I doing that? Sometimes people do that because of their first introduction to sex, especially if it was through trauma, GRAPE or CSA. I am a trauma therapist if this is your first time watching, so that's why I'm going to discuss trauma. So sometimes people engage in what's called sexual acting out, or hypersexuality. So even though they're saved, they still have that unresolved trauma. So they're still engaging in sex. You may have been taught that in order to keep a man, you have to have sex with him. You have to address that. Maybe you were betrayed in a previous relationship because you wouldn't have sex. So now you're having sex so that you can secure the relationship. And I don't know if that's true or not, but those are beliefs there. You have to be honest about what you believe. Maybe like Smithy, I just have sex because I enjoy it. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not, I don't know what the latest lingo is, clock that, I don't know. But I have sex because I enjoy it. I have sex because it's natural. I don't see anything wrong with it, so I'm going to have sex. Okay, I'm Christian, and I don't believe there's anything wrong with having sex, so that's why I'm having it. But I would challenge you, if you struggle in this area, okay, not that you're the last example of, listen, I don't think there's nothing wrong with it, I'm going to do it. Not you, okay? Thank you for letting me know, but not you. But if you're struggling in this area, there's a few things that I believe you need in order to overcome this. One, I believe you need accountability. You need people, when we have a weakness, we need people, or a shortcoming, we need people who will hold us accountable, people who we trust now, because you don't want to tell somebody and then they'll put your business in the street. So you might want to go to a therapist or a coach that's confidential and they can help hold you accountable. But if you have a mentor or a friend that can do that, say, listen, I'm struggling in this area and I really need your help. Will you pray for me? Will you fast with me? Can I call you when I'm going on a date and you call me to make sure I make it home? Like, you need accountability. Also, you need boundaries. Sometimes they'll be like, I used to hear that. I mean, some of the things that are said in church are just, like, you don't need to be going out late at night. The only thing that's open is this and that. Listen, people have sex in the daytime, okay? You need boundaries. Your boundaries may be, I'm not going to be alone with the opposite sex, just one-on-one. I'm not going to be alone with the opposite sex. So if he's like, come over to the house and we can hang out, or no, I'm not going to do that. I'm only going to meet with you in public. I'm only going to be with you in public spaces, or we go out with a group of people, or we hang out at somebody's house and it's a group of us. And when the group leave, I'm going to leave too, right? So that I don't engage in sin. But it's so important. It's so important that you look at your beliefs around sex, right? Look at what you believe, because you can't say, I believe sex is only for marriage, but then you keep engaging in it. There's some cognitive dissonance there. What is going on? And I'm not saying that in a judgmental way, right? It's just like it's about to be the new year. Everybody like, well, I'm about to work out. I'm about to work out. You don't change your diet. You don't exercise. So guess what? You ain't gonna lose no weight. There's a disconnect there. That's all I'm saying. So I want you to identify what the disconnect is. And I want you to make the choice to be pleasing to God. Right? This young lady, back to the young lady that sent the comment that has me doing this video, there's some decisions she has to make, right? There's some decisions she has to make. And I believe she needs a good social support system, because sometimes church folks will tell you to do something and they'll be like, oh girl, I'll be praying for you. They ain't said one prayer. They don't call you. They don't check on you. They don't help you get the U-Haul. They don't help you put the first and last month as it relates to rent. They don't help you with none of that, but they'll give you advice. But they won't walk you through the process. And for some people, there is a process as it relates to certain things that you have to let go of. Just like a person who, let's say, decides to stop smoking, there is a process for that. There are some people who say, I'm done. Cold turkey, they're done. And there's other people that's like, I need a nicotine patch. I need some gum, so that I can go through the process. I think there are some people who are not convicted in this area, and they need the process to ensure that they never go back to it. There's nothing, now I don't want to say there's nothing, but how do I want to say this? I've seen many people follow instruction because it was given to them, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Follow instruction that's given to you. We know not to have sex before marriage, but I've seen people backslide because they didn't have the conviction themselves. You see what I'm saying? You can tell somebody it's hot. If you have children, you say, that's hot, don't touch it. That's hot. Don't touch it. But sometimes they don't learn what until they touch. Oh, that's hot. They tell you it's hot. It's hot. Yes, because sometimes you have to have the conviction for the thing that you're wrestling with, and only God can give it to you. But you have to surrender it to Him. You have to say, "Listen, Lord." Whatever it is, because it may not be sex. It could be gluttony, overeating. It could be profanity. It could be difficulty with, it could be unforgiveness. It could be bitterness. Whatever it is, you have to say, Lord, I'm struggling with this and I need your help. I need your help. Some sin is pleasurable. So like sex, like, Lord, I need your help because this is pleasurable to me. I keep engaging in it. Lord, I don't want to forgive them because I feel like I'm justified in withholding forgiveness from them. They wronged me and they ain't apologized to me. So what I'm going to forgive them for? Lord, I don't want to forgive them. I don't want to. They hurt me. They hurt me. So I don't want to forgive them. Whatever it is, you got to ask God to help you with it. This young lady who's in this situation, she needs the Lord's help, not a church's judgment, not our judgment. Not, girl, that ain't your husband. So does he have a say over her body? He absolutely doesn't. Okay, let me make that clear. But sometimes we just have to be mindful of how we respond. We have to be mindful because the Bible says, loving kindness have I drawn thee. And sometimes when we see people in situations that God doesn't want them in, we, instead of judging them out of that situation or shaming them out of that situation, which it won't work, we got to love people out of those situations. Think of the prodigal son. His father was looking for him. And when he came, he said, no, he restored him right in that moment. He didn't say, you know what? See, you went out there and you wasted your inheritance and that's why you was out there with the pigs. And no, he was looking for him to restore him right back to the place that he was, because that's how God is. So you got to surrender and you got to trust that even in this situation, he's going to restore and he's going to bless it because all things work together for his good, right? So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I would love to hear from you in the comments. If you're a woman and you've been through the same situation, or maybe you are a man watching this video, please comment below. I would love for this to be a place where we can have an open conversation about being saved and still having sex and how you overcame it. So my name is Cynthia. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.